You're watching TelecomTV's Spotlight on 5G series. It's Wednesday, the 2nd of March, and this is The Slice. Headlines today. FCC announces new 2.5 GHz spectrum auction. Telefónica deploys Open RAN small cells in Germany, and the urgent need for industry-wide energy efficiency. Hello, I'm Guy Daniels, Director of Content for TelecomTV, and welcome to our live programme covering today's news from MWC and beyond. We're broadcasting live at 1 p.m. Central European Time, Monday through Thursday, for the whole duration of MWC 22. I'll be bringing you the latest industry news while my colleagues Maistre and Yanitsa Boyadzhieva report from the event itself in Barcelona. And it's day 3, the day when exhibition fatigue really starts to kick in. But we're only halfway there, so order another Café con leche and dig deep. We can do this. On today's show, we have Howard Watson, the CTIO of BT, Tami Erwin, CEO of Verizon Business, and Tareq Amin, CEO of Rakuten Symphony, and much, much more. But first, let's now hear from Ray and Yanni reporting from Barcelona and find out what treats they have selected from their extra-large news menu.
Thanks, Guy. It's day 3 of MWC 22, and it seems that there are a few people still recovering from a good night out in the Gothic Quarter last night, as it appears that there are fewer people here this morning.
Yeah, that's right. There were quite a few empty seats on the early trains out to the Fira this morning, but also, as you'd expect, plenty of news for us to talk about too. Orange and Samsung have announced a number of new initiatives that expand their existing strategic partnership. The two companies will collaborate to reduce the waste attributable to Samsung mobile devices distributed by Orange in Europe by extending the life cycle of a typical product. Now, Orange is to offer an extension on the trade-in and the collection programs on used second-hand Samsung devices and add a Samsung certified refurbished program through Orange channels. Now, this is something that many operators are seeking to do right now, and in fact Deutsche Telekom and Vodafone are both highlighting these kind of schemes on their booths here at the show. Now, Orange and Samsung are also preparing for the deployment of 5G standalone services by implementing end-to-end testing of Samsung devices and technology over the operators' test networks. They will also explore new use cases made possible through 5G standalone network capabilities to support both advanced industrial and entertainment services. And we have more sustainability news. Yanni.
Nokia has announced the commercial availability from the third quarter of this year of its Liquid Cooling AirScale portfolio, which it says is designed to make radio networks more sustainable and cost-efficient by reducing the energy required to cool a base station. The vendor claims the energy consumption related to cooling systems can be reduced up to 90% and the base station carbon dioxide emissions by up to 80% compared to traditional active air cooling systems. Those statistics are based on the results of various pilot schemes run by Nokia. The effort is capturing operator attention. BT's chief architect Neil McRae told TelecomTV yesterday that finding ways to improve energy efficiency in communication networks has never been more important, and that he is impressed with Nokia's development, while AT&T is piloting the solution in its live network trial in Philadelphia, US.
Yes, FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel, as part of her efforts to pivot the US to mid-band spectrum for 5G, used her keynote speech here to announce that the next US spectrum auction of capacity in the 2.5 GHz band would be in July this year, following on from the previous 3.5 gigahertz and C-band license awards. And then immediately she said the FCC would start work to open up additional 5G capacity in the 3.1 to 3.45 gigahertz band. So this is great for US 5G capacity and services, of course, but just let's see how deep those operator pockets are. And we've got some fresh Open RAN news too.
That's right, Telefónica Germany O2 has collaborated with NEC for the launch of the first small cells in Germany, based on open and virtual RAN architecture. The technology was deployed in the city center of Munich to provide enhanced capacity in what is a dense urban area. As part of the move, NEC has integrated a multi-vendor architecture, which includes a solution from Airspan and Open vRAN software from Rakuten Symphony. The small cells have been deployed in addition to the existing multi-vendor-based macro cells in the operator's network. According to NEC, this will enable 5G densification, which will bring benefits to multiple industries and enterprises in Germany. Telefónica and NEC are also partnering on Open RAN trials in Spain, the UK and Brazil. And Trey, over to you for another hot topic from this year's show.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid the topic of the Metaverse here on the MWC 22 show floor. And while the displays and demos are mainly focused on consumer fun, CSPs certainly believe there'll be plenty of enterprise applications that can make use of emerging mixed reality technology. Now that's one of the reasons why Telefónica's startup incubation unit, WERA, has issued a global call for startups in the Metaverse. The move was announced by Jaime Alonso, Telefónica's Chief Digital Officer, in his speech at the 4 Years From Now entrepreneurship event that runs alongside MWC here in Barcelona. Now, the initiative, dubbed Open to Metaverse, is a global search for startups with metaverse technologies and applications that WERA can help to grow and reach global scale faster. WERA will focus on companies that are developing use cases related to connectivity, devices, virtual platforms, identity tools, NFTs and marketplaces, amongst other things. And Yanni, you've been looking at some of the sustainability messaging from leading operators here at the show. Let's take a look.
Fortunately, some of the largest mobile operators didn't leave sustainability out of the picture at MWC 22 in Barcelona. Deutsche Telekom dedicated a section on its stand to showcase some of the ways it aims to protect the environment. Its demos included a portfolio of products with less packaging, an initiative for smartphones reuse, and the hydrogen and ammonia-based power solution by its partner Gencell. Telefónica had a small section at its booth, highlighting the need for the use of artificial intelligence to efficiently manage energy used by electric vehicles and buildings, alongside deployments of solar panels. Vodafone had the most green intensified space on the show floor. Some of the highlighted initiatives included extending the life of mobile phones through its circular economy plan, using renewable energy sources such as from windmills, and its Digital Guardian solution deployed in Romania to prevent illegal deforestation.
That was Yanni and Ray, TelecomTV's carbon-neutral editorial team, reporting from the show floor of MWC 22 in Barcelona this morning. They'll both be back, hopefully, fully recharged in time for tomorrow's final show. A reminder that we've been adding new videos to the TelecomTV website all week for you to watch in their entirety on demand. There's a great selection of interviews, panels and features. Plus, if you miss them, you can watch the previous editions of The Slice. But first, now that 5G rollout is well underway, the attention has switched to the capabilities of the 5G standalone core. And on the day that Verizon announced its first commercial private 5G customer in the US, Ray Lemaitre asked Tami, Erwin, CEO of Verizon Business, how these 5G advances will drive new enterprise business revenues.
Now we're looking forward and saying, how do you think about the deployment of 5G private core? That will happen here over the next 12 to 18 months, and it will open up new applications and use cases. But I don't have to wait for that to happen because I have the capability today with my 5G millimeter wave spectrum and my 5G mid-band spectrum to really unlock the capability that customers are expecting today from Verizon, both on connectivity, be it public or private, as well as then platforms and applications that provide edge compute capability to transform businesses. So yes, that will come and it will provide increased applications and functionality and capability, but we're not waiting for that because the applications are real today.
The NGMN held a press conference yesterday focused on its three key work areas: 6G research, disaggregation, and sustainability. The Alliance has called for metering solutions to help operators reach net zero emission targets. TelecomTV's Deputy Editor Yanitsa Boyadzhieva asked who would be needed to be included to ensure there is an objective way to measure energy efficiency.
There are companies out there who invented the network benchmarking. They have a great methodology, and a lot of that learning can be applied, spiced up by academia with all the intelligence within our ecosystem and operator community to drive that. So it's going to be a combination of these things. And this is now not scripted or not, in my humble personal view, I think we have to look, even though NGMN, the M stands for mobile, for those who have a converged operations, no matter if it's cable or it's fiber fixed, you need to look at the end-to-end network, not just the mobile. And this is how we're going to develop that.
And following on from the NGMN's push to support more energy efficient networks, Ray spoke with Howard Watson, CTIO of BT Group, and asked him if he was seeing any significant advances in improving energy efficiency.
So we're trialing capabilities in the mobile network. So how do you switch off carriers if you don't need them all there for customers at the time? I've talked to some colleagues over in the US. They switch off massive MIMO at 11 p.m. and then turn it back on again in the morning. So I think there's probably 15% reduction we can get out of each cell site, which will help. However, if I look at the prices of energy last week compared to what they were 2 years ago, it's 4 times. Right. So we've got significant things to do, and it's another one of those. I'm trying to get the whole organisation innovating around ways of, we use 2 terawatt hours per year, so I'd love to get that down to half of that if I can.
The O-RAN Alliance yesterday provided an update of its activities. Chairman Andrei Fuich announced via a recorded message that Release 2 of its Open RAN specifications is due later this month, focused on open intelligence and RAN slicing, and that work is already underway on Release 3.
One area that will be included in O-RAN Release 3 is security. Last year, the O-RAN Security Focus Group, or SFG, released 4 specifications covering security threat modeling and mediation, requirements, protocols, and tests. The SFG is working on specifying security for RAN interfaces that don't currently have industry-wide security specifications. I believe that O-RAN open interfaces can be as secure or more secure than proprietary implementations by avoiding potential reliance on security by obscurity. O-RAN is methodically addressing RAN security through open requirements, design, specification, and test cases.
Well, each year at MWC, there is one company that garners the most attention and interest. And this year, that company is undoubtedly Rakuten Symphony. It has made a number of announcements around MWC, including strategic partnerships and the launch of SimWorld. In an exclusive hour-long interview with CEO Tareq Amin, I asked if the SimWorld platform was, in effect, building on the Open RAN RIC ecosystem model of applications and developers.
So while the industry talks about RIC, we have evolved. And Symphony has evolved to do something much more bigger than RIC in terms of integration of all the great things the industry wants to do in RIC and incorporating all the other IT applications that a telecommunication company would need, all served within one consolidated view, consolidated architecture. So that's our view, is RIC now as a platform collapse into SimWorld architecture. SimWorld is an absolute unified application store that will do a lot more than the X apps that are being envisioned for RIC.
And don't forget, you can watch that interview in full on the TelecomTV website. Now, to ease the strain on our editorial inbox, here are some of the other news highlights for today. As we briefly mentioned earlier, Verizon has announced the first commercial implementation of its on-site 5G private network solution in the US. Financial investment firm BlackRock is deploying the 5G ultra-wideband solution at its headquarters in New York. HCL has launched 2 customer experience and energy efficiency applications built on its augmented network automation platform, which supports multi-vendor and multi-technology deployments in cloud or on-prem environments. HTC has unveiled its portable private 5G solution called the Rain Cloud in collaboration with Supermicro. Designed to work with Open RAN, HTC claims the portable solution can be set up in just 30 minutes. Mavenir has been selected by Turk Telecom for an Open vRAN pilot, which is supported by the Telecom Infra project. It will also test embedded beamforming technologies that conform to the O-RAN Alliance fronthaul specifications. Red Hat has joined the Linux Foundation's Magma project, which is developing an open source mobile packet core. In its first year at LFN, the project has already set out its architecture roadmap, which is 3GPP and access network agnostic. And finally, Marvell has showcased a number of industry collaborations and Open RAN solutions, including a new Open RAN accelerator card developed with Dell Technologies and a massive MIMO radio unit with analog devices. Well, that's our email inbox cleared, for now at least. As well as reporting on the news, we have a whole week of special spotlight on 5G programs for you. You can watch them on demand or via the playlist on TelecomTV, which is running all the way through to Thursday. Strategy Outlook returns with focused discussions on the 5G core, RAN, edge and private networks and the cloud. And we also have interviews with leading CSP executives and key vendors. Don't miss our Top 10 Mobile Moments series, where Ray and I look back at TelecomTV's 20 years of coverage of MWC, and there's plenty of surprises from our video archives. We serve up a fresh edition of The Slice every day of MWC with news and analysis from the TelecomTV team. And then next week, when we're all back at our desks, it's time for the After Show, our live Q&A program. So start sending in your questions now. I mentioned earlier that we have a curated playlist of videos to watch, which is running for most of the day on TelecomTV. Today's theme for our Strategy Outlook panel debate is the edge and private 5G networks. And here's a sample of what we're covering for Wednesday, with insights from Aruba, HPE, Intel and Microsoft.
When we think about private 5G, I think it's tempting to look at the technology and to put the emphasis on the 5G part. But when many enterprises hear the expression private 5G, what appeals to them is that it's private, that it's under their control, that it's distinct from and independent of the surrounding public network. So one of the challenges that we face is balancing that interest in control against the inherent complexity of a cellular architecture that's frankly unfamiliar to most enterprise network engineers and administrators.
You're also going to see innovation in private 5G. HPE will have recently announced for Mobile World Congress a seamless interworking solution across both cellular and Wi-Fi. You know, my view, that is a pretty impressive development for the industry. And quite frankly, in the customer conversations that I have been, that's been an ask. So, you know, it's pretty exciting that HP and Intel and a broader ecosystem have been able to to collaborate on this, to deploy on HP's next generation hardware, for example, the Edgeline.
There are many things Wi-Fi does very well, particularly when it's indoors, relatively cheap, high coverage. That's very good. But there are use cases, and we see more and more of those driven by increase in demand in analytics at the edge, more devices at the edge, a higher degree of automation in the enterprise. Some of those, or many of those use cases, are demanding complementary capabilities that cellular is very well placed, particularly when it comes to extending coverage or increasing reliability of the connectivity. The combination of Wi-Fi and 5G, we have different ways of combining the technologies, and this is really helping to make life of the enterprise simpler by giving them a single interface to manage the subscribers or the devices that they want to bring onto their network.
Often what we find is it starts with the application, and the application, let's say, is video analytics, and then it's a case of, okay, well, we've got to then connect video cameras to the application with high security, with low latency, with good throughput, and so on. And sometimes wired Ethernet works, sometimes Wi-Fi works, but occasionally you have a situation, typically because of the extent of a physical site, where 5G is the best fit. So 5G comes in on the back of a particular application, rather than people saying, "Oh, I want to roll out a 5G network now. Let's figure out what I can do with it."
That's all for today's edition of The Slice. Please join us again on Thursday, live at 1 p.m. Central European Time, with another report from Barcelona with Ray and Yanni on day 4, yes, the final day of MWC. Until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.